Test. You know? Okay. Makalima? You know? Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. Alo mai kako. Hena hoa hona mea piliolana pau, and welcome to this session of Brown Bag Biography, the longest-running seminar series at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. The idea of George Simpson, the Emeritus Director of the Center for Biographical Research and the founding editor of Biography, an interdisciplinary quarterly. Today's Brown Bag session is number 843. I will also add that today's session is being live-streamed and recorded by Oiwi TV as part of Hawaiian History Month, sponsored by the Hawaii Pono'i Coalition. For more information about all of these events, go to hawaiianhistorymonth.org. And many thanks to Caroline Zuckerman, the book review editor and compiler of the annual bibliography of life writing for the journal Biography, who was responsible for all the publicity for the Brown Bag series, and to Malia Nobriga Oliveira, who has done all of the publicity for Hawaiian History Month. And one final thanks to Courtney and the Oiwi TV team for all of their creative and professional work. Before I introduce our program today, I want to mention what's coming up in the Brown Bag Biography series. Next week, Thursday, September 26th, same time, same location, here in Kuykendall 410, Amy Carlson, Serials Librarian, University of Hawaii at Manoa Library, will be giving a talk entitled, "This Story is No Longer Available, Working with Experiential Media and Life Narratives." Media, Carlson writes, and particularly social and online media, is both pervasive and fragile. She will be discussing how she managed the shifts, changes, and disappearances of life narratives as she prepared her dissertation for publication by Bloomsbury earlier this year as the monograph, Reading Mediated Life Narratives, Autobiographical Agency in the Book, Museum, Social Media, and Archives. Then, on Thursday, October 3rd, same time, same place, Peter Arnade, Professor of History and Dean of the College of Arts, Languages, and Letters. Notice I mentioned he was a Professor of History before I mentioned he was a Dean. He will be giving a talk entitled, "Lose Your Fatherland. A Former Slave Turns Calvinist Missionary Returning to Elmina, Ghana, 1742 to 47. Arnade writes that Jacobus Kapetien's life might have been tragically short, but his legacy is long and vexed. In the cohort of African and Afro-European history, religious and academic figures of 18th century Europe and North America, Kapetien stands out most notably as a former slave turned Calvinist missionary and Europe's first ordained Protestant African minister, one who notoriously penned a Latin treatise at Leiden University defending the compatibility of evangelical freedom with slavery. A very complicated figure. All right. Now, in terms of generally, we are having one of these sessions every week until after Thanksgiving. If you'd like to find more out about it, you can sign up on the CBR mailing list or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. This particular event is obviously being recorded. Hello to those of you who are getting it from the live stream. And it will be available online and you will be able to find that either on Hawaiian History Month or through the Center for Biographical Research website. And now for today's seminar. Puana, a conversation about the upcoming Hawaiian language play exploring music, kūpuna, and their living legacy. This is co-sponsored by the Hawaii Pono'i Coalition as part of Hawaiian History Month, Theatre Hana Keaka, Hamilton Library, the Hawaii Nui Akea School of Hawaiian Knowledge, Hui Aina Pilipili, Native Hawaiian Initiative, the Matsunaga Institute, Conflict, Peace, and Resolution Specialist, the Center for Oral History, the School of Communication and Information, the School of Cinematic Arts, and the Departments of Anthropology, American Studies, Ethnic Studies, Political Science, Sociology, Theater and Dance, and Women, Gender, and Sexuality Studies. Written and directed by Tammy Hailiʻōpua Baker with Kaipulaumakaniolono Baker. in concert with artistic collaborators are Keawe Lopes Jr., Tracie Kaʻōnohiokalani Lopes, Zachary Alakaʻi Lum, Tawaroa Kawana. This new hana keaka, Hawaiian Theatre production, Puana, explores the deep connections that Kānaka Maoli have with their kūpuna through song. Family artifacts reveal stories encapsulated in poetic compositions from the past, which guide contemporary musicians in their artistic journeys. In today's panel discussion, the production designers will share about their roles in developing Puana, which will be performed at Kennedy Theatre, University of Hawaii at Manoa on September 27th, 28th, and October 4th, 5th, and 6th. For more information and to get tickets, which you will definitely need to do, go to https://manoa.hawaii.edu live on stage /Puana. I will introduce today's moderator and the alaka'i for everything about Puana, Tammy Hailiʻōpua Baker, playwright, director, scholar, educator from Kapa'a, Kauai. Her work focuses on revitalizing Kānaka Maoli mo'olelo, Native Hawaiian history and narratives, through Hawaiian medium theater, hana keaka. A professor in the Department of Theater and Dance here at UH Manoa, she oversees the Hawaiian theater and playwriting programs at UHM, is a founder of ANO, or Ahuhui Noi, Noeau Oivi, or Research Institute for Indigenous Performance, and the playwright and director for Puana. She will introduce the members of her remarkable production team, Keawe Baker, Noelani Montas, Chris Patrinos, Antonio Hernandez, and Kelly Finnegan. I will also note that tomorrow evening, Friday, September 20th at 7:30 p.m., as part of Hawaiian History Month, there will be another discussion and performance preview in person and live streams from Kennedy Theatre Main Stage, entitled Puana, a preview and conversation about the upcoming Hawaiian language play exploring music, kūpuna, and their living legacy. Featuring artistic collaborators are Keawe Lopes Jr., Zachary Alakaʻi Lum, Kaipulaumakaniolono Baker, and Hailiʻōpua Baker. And with a performance from the cast, Joshua Baba Kamoaniala, Tavares Ikaika Mendez, and Keawe Baker. It's 7:30 p.m. You can come to Kennedy Theatre Main Stage and attend, or you can get it from the live stream. And for more information and access to that live streaming, go to hawaiianhistorymonth.org. Kumuhaili.
Mahalo. Velina me ke aloha ia kākoa pau. Aloha nui e nā hoa makamaka I ākoa koa mai nei, ma ke kula nui nei. Aloha no e ka poe ki e halo ma ka oko mau lolo wila, ka oko mau kiwi paha, ma ka olu o ka oko mau wahi hale, ke ena, lumi, papa, hea hala. Aloha nui kāko. He leo mahalo ke ia, ia oi e Kauka House, Craig, no na hana he nui loa malala o ke ia papahana o Center for Biographical Research. Mahalo I ke kako o nui ana ia mako a peia pu me ke kono mau ana ia mako e hele mai hai o lelo. And ia o ko ke kahi ma Oivi TV mahalo a nui I ka ho'olele ana I ke ia no ka poe I hiki ole ke ho'ea kino mai I ke ia ano papahana. Mahalo anui. A he leo mahalo noho I ke ia I ku'u hoa aina, o ka aina like, o ka mokupuni like, o ia hoi o Malia no Briga Oliveira. Mau hoa maua no Kauai, me oi ko ualoha, no kau mau papahana malalo o ka papahana o Hawaii Pono I Coalition. No leila, mahalo anui, e kwapo olelo. We're gonna go switching language now. Yes, okay. For those for a second went, on the screen. Yeah, no. I'm teasing. We've done it before. And eia no kako, leo lua, yay. So, as you can see, we're bilingual, multilingual, some of us. The production as well is bilingual. So don't be afraid to come and see Puana because you see the warning predominantly performed in Olelo, Hawaii. I promise you that there will be an extensive scene chart which helps you understand what's happening, and the acumen of the performers, really, they are able to communicate through body language, through expression. You'll be able to understand the story. So mahalo for the plug earlier. Yeah. The little PR we had at the beginning of this. Please come and see Puana. Again, we have 2 weekends, 5 shows, and I know that it's a once in a lifetime experience to have something in Olelo, Hawaii, to have something relevant to our aina, as well as to have something that really focuses on mele Hawaii. And we're going to transition really quickly into the designers, but I do want to just honor the musical aspect, which would not be possible without Keawe Lopes and Zach Alakaʻi Lum, as well as Tawaroa Kawana, who was a collaborative artist with us in our Hana no Eo series with Ano. So recognizing them, this is not possible for one person to carry off. And that is why we have an amazing group of designers. And I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves, as well as share with us what their role was with the production. So maybe hu owai oi, no hea mai oi, ma hea oi makapapahana, a he hako kuleana me ke ia.
Baker, no kahalu'u o ahu mai au he haumana au makapapahana hana keaka o kia ko'u makahiki hope. Aloha everyone, my name is Keawe Lopes.
Puana music. Oh. Okay.
TV, so you want duo.
That's right.
We don't
Action.
TV, you get duo.
Action. Aloha everyone. My name is Keawe Lopes Baker. I'm from Kahalu'u Oahu. I'm currently a haumana in the Hana Keaka program, finishing up my MFA. This is my last year. I also have like 3 kuleanas on this project. I'm a performer. I play the role of Nai. I'm the co-costume designer with Miley Speedgens, who unfortunately couldn't be here because she's teaching. And I'm also the one making the wonderful play guide that we're gonna get soon. Mahalo.
That's a lot of hats you wear, as we all do as part of this production and design team. Aloha, my name is Chris Petrinos. I am a professor of design, theatrical design here at the University of Hawaii. I'm also the technical director at the Liliuokalani Center for Liliuokalani Trust. And my role, well, first off, where do I hail from? I hail from the fine valley of Paoa, number 6 bus. And yeah, and my role in this is really as a scenic designer, but first and foremost as a professor is one that is mentoring and advising our graduate students in their design projects, and I am very happy to do so. So thank you very much for having me.
Hello, I'm Kelly Finnegan. I just started my MFA in Lighting and Properties Design, and I'm also one of the Electrics graduate assistants. For this production, I am the sound effects designer and one of the electricians. Mahalo.
Hello, my name is Antonio Hernandez. I am from Phoenix, Arizona. I am a second-year GA student or graduate student, and I'm a graduate assistant in the scenic shop. And for this production, I have the pleasure of working props as well as being a scenic associate designer, as well as there's another scenic associate designer named Justin. Unfortunately, can't be here. He's working in the shop at the moment. So as soon as this is done, I'm running to help him.
Aloha kako. Oh, kalamai. Aloha kako. O wano keia o Noelani Montas no Torrance, California mai he haumana hana keaka Hawaii au. I ka papahana hana keaka Hawaii o keia ka ukau hope ma ke kulanui nei. Hi, I'm Noelani. I'm from California, Southern California. This is my last semester in the Hawaiian Theatre MFA program. In the program, I focus in performance and design. And for this show, I am the lighting and projections designer, along with a really great team of students and alum. Marcus Go, who's my associate projections designer, Annalise Forshing, who's the assistant lighting designer, Kekela Oku Fernandez, who's our video technician, QLab technician, my emotional support person, and Tai Kanemori, who is our production electrician. So mahalo to them for all of their hard work in supporting me with my designs and all of our shows. And they also, of course, wear multiple hats as GAs and students across majors and departments. So it's been a pleasure to assemble this team and just to have them with me. So mahalo.
Mahalo anui. E ho'omaka paha me oi. Hikino? Hikino? Okay, and then we'll go this way, yeah? So the question I'm going to pose is, where did you draw inspiration from for your designs? And what maybe should the audience look for?
Yeah. Ooh, okay. Well, I think lighting, can be a little abstract, right, to think about because it's less of the physical, but more of like the feeling, at least as an audience member and as a performer. But Kumu Haile had some really great inspiration videos of kind of that vintage Hawaii musical aesthetic that we're going for between the 1930s and 50s. So looking at Hawaii Calls, Reikini, Alfred Apaka, that generation. And so kind of just looking, for me, I've been looking at the quality of the video recordings that we still have, that we're so fortunate to have. Even the photos are really helpful, and just kind of thinking about the depth, and of course back then it was in black and white, and so some of the projections are going to mirror that, but when we see them live, they're in full color. So then kind of seeing the opposite of how we can kind of flatten them in a way to kind of give that kind of singular dimension when we do reveal those moments. And so, yeah, that's been kind of the main source, I think, of something I'm holding on to, is looking at that footage and looking at how they move and trying to emulate that. And then, yeah, I think also with the projections and the lighting, we're really walking between worlds, as they mentioned, between generations of this ohana. So just trying to think about, how those movements between the present and the past and the connection between our main character, Kawohi, and his kūpuna, and just kind of what feels similar and what feels different, and when they connect, how that feels, for them, and then also for us. And, if there is a musical underscoring, kind of bringing that element in, and if it's just them, what does that look like? And kind of touching these relics of his ohana and kind of learning more about his mo'oku auhau and his kuleana as a musical engineer and performer, and just, student, I feel like, of life and mele, so for our main character. So yeah, those have been kind of the main things that have been sticking in my mind, and kind of always going back to where the lines are in the world and how much depth I kind of want to see. So those have been the goals and things to play with. And yeah, it's definitely would not have been possible without my team of people that I mentioned. So yeah, mahalo.
It's interesting with props because it's just everything that is scenically, and everyone's handling things, and just the inspiration behind all of it is just exactly what the characters are doing, I guess, and just learning from the script, and then just talking with the team as well, and knowing exactly how things work together. the fun things I have learned in this is like learning how a 8mm projector works and how a 16mm projector works and what film carries sound and all these like fun things, and learning a lot about like music history here on island and like learning how the art on albums work. So it's been fun just playing with things and being able to put things together. Let's see what else. My favorite thing, I think, for you, like something to look out as for an audience member, is just looking at the history of technology that's going to be on stage. There are things from pre-recording. We have vinyls, we have film, we have a full soundboard system, and like we can see the history of like music making and filmmaking on stage just in the props itself. And we'll see it in our projections as well, in our lighting. We'll see it in our set. So it's a lot of history happening on stage that's not being physically said and talked about, but you'll see it happening there already. But yeah.
Hello. A lot of my research has just been looking through the script and discussing with Kumu Haile like what sounds are needed to go with like certain props, like a phone ring, or a lot of the sound effects are also used to help move along the story and tie the main character to his kūpuna. And there's a lot of like the record player noises that are needed and stuff like the film footage, and so working with projections and with that as well to get the film noises that we need. Yeah.
Well, my role in this as a scenic designer kind of ties the whole environment together in a three-dimensional physical sense, and being able to work with these other artists and having their input in constructing what this final environment will be like has been very rewarding for me, especially as a professor, being able to share my knowledge with them. As always, I say I stand to learn just as much from them as they do from me, and I have learned a lot on this project. And as it relates to like my research projects or my research and looking back about how I might formulate this design, first off, our director is thorough, and I, for myself, you know, having so many of my questions answered ahead of time really is helpful, and it gives us direction that we can get at the information that we need to find those little details to advance it. So as far as the scenic is concerned, Noelani had mentioned, you know, Hawaii calls. And in turn, that really became kind of a stepping off point for me in doing my research, because history, it's a big thing for me. I have my undergraduate in history. I'm just passionate about making sure that we understand where we came from before we know where we're going. And in turn, I needed to find out where we came from. So, you know, drawing inspiration from the Moana Hotel in the Lanai, where they used to broadcast from for many years, was that stepping off point. And looking at the architectural, you know, features of that lanai and the hotel itself, you know, just lended to this sense of the past, but hey, the buggers still stay there, you know, and it's still, you know, it's still providing experiences and opportunities for this generation. So for me, it was a logical, like, grounding point of where this scenery needed to go. And then on top of it, you know, when you're at home and you're at your, you know, your auntie's or your tutu's house, and you make these discoveries of like, what is that picture on the wall, or where did that little accoutrement that is like on the dresser like come from, and it just transports you back. I think all these items that, you know, Antonio has fished out in these from his research, and then how it ties together with the complete environment, you're gonna be taken to your tutu's house or your cousin's house, because it tells a story. So all that detail, put it all together, and then put some clothes on these people. we got a pretty good story coming your way. So that's how I feel about that.
Thank you for setting me up.
So for costume designing, I think for me personally, I've had this insight of what the story is and who these people are from the beginning of this process. So I've been able to like process that longer and chew it down and my renderings, but they're not bad. They're good. But Maile and I did a lot of collaborating on what the color palette was going to be for the show, and we kind of went hard with purple, but it's a really nice purple because it kind of blends in this month that we're in with Liliʻōkalani, and also honoring the kūpuna of the past with that kind of hina-ish purple that looks kind of faded. But where am I going with this? The inspiration for the main characters that I got to design was my dream closet. So 80% of our costumes are custom to us, and a lot of it was sourced from different kind of fabric patterns that I really enjoyed, and that I got confirmation from Kumuhaili that yes, let's do it. What else? The band look was a big one, a big research one for me and Maile. We decided like at the beginning that we were splitting the costumes, that I was going to take main characters and she was going to take Bana members. But I was still there with her while we were doing the research, and yes, she's very thorough with her research. So it was great direction for us to just take that and go with it because she knew exactly what she wanted. And it was clear in these videos of our kupuna in these hula shows, that's the look that we're going for. So I don't want to spoil the costume. Spoil it, but it's like really cute. The Bana members look really cute put together in their costumes, and you're transported into that time. And Maile did a great job with that. Good job, Maile.
Mahalo, Anui. Mahalo. So as we kind of talk about the inspiration, I'm going to pose another question, and then maybe we can come back to what should audience members look for? Why should they come and see the show? Okay, we'll leave that for the end, but maybe we can talk a little bit about what we felt were some, and we're still in the process. I want to just mention that we are still in the process. This week we are trying to get everything together. And when I say everything together, I'm talking everything together. We're trying to get all of our filmography together because we have a number of clips and projections, and then we have a lot of sound pieces. We have the albums. I don't want to totally give the albums away, but we have some album work that we're doing. Yeah, we are finishing. We're finishing costumes. There's a couple of pieces that is still. Yeah. I think we got 2 pieces that are still coming. And then also the set. We're still fine-tuning the set. It needs to be painted. It needs, there's still a lot of work. So as a disclaimer, tomorrow when we live stream from Kennedy Theater, it's not a complete set. We're just going to say
we're not at the finish line.
We're not at the finish
we're
line.
At mile 24.2 out of 26.2.
Yes. So we're getting very close, but there's still a lot to do. And same could be said for on the part of the performers as well. We're getting close, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. Last night, and I'll just mention, last night we had our 10-piece band and our musical directors and everything, and we just decided we just need to sit and sing. We need to sit, sing, learn these songs, and then let's walk through all those transitions. So that kind of work is still happening, and I think on the design stuff, we all have breakout meetings that's going to happen today and tomorrow as we move into a paper tech, right? Before we can do our technical rehearsals this weekend. And this weekend is a big weekend. So as we kind of approach the weekend, as we approach these final details. And then, of course, the close goes on Monday night. So Monday night would be our first dress rehearsal where all the elements are there. And we get our band back on Monday, right? Liko Lehua is the name of the band. That's the final, steps, I guess, the final mile in the race. Yeah, when we approach Magic Week, and I like to call it Magic Week. I've always called it Magic Week.
As opposed to Hell Week.
Yes. People use that word in the theater community. I rebuke it. Yep. Yeah. I rebuke it. It doesn't have to be horrible. It can be magical, right? When we get all the elements together. Yeah. So we're heading for magic this week. Yeah. In the next few days. And then, we have a preview on Thursday. So we're very close. But understand that as we respond to this next question, we're not done with the process, right? So I'm going to just say up to now, what has maybe been, or maybe what you anticipate as a major challenge? Or if you don't want to take the challenge question, you can say what you feel has been a great triumph thus far. Like what have you accomplished and felt like, yes, this is great. I'm heading in the right direction or whatever. So I'm going to throw that question out and we can start whoever wants to go first.
I can start. In any scenic design, one of your biggest challenges is scale. And in turn, as it relates to Puana, in some cases the challenge could be we've poured 10 gallons into a 5-gallon bucket. And in turn, how do we, once the design process is pretty close, how do we refine it so that we can figure out how all that water is manageable? Okay, so more specifically to Puana is, as we evaluate what we think the traffic patterns might be of the actors in the design process, and then we make discoveries, especially in a new piece. This is an original piece of work, so it's not like the thing was performed anywhere else. We are building it all together, from playwright to director to actors, designers, and everything else. So put that layer into it, and then say, you know what? The halal will have 12 or so many. The bana will have, between 9 and maybe let's just say up to 16 musicians. Who knew at the time of us creating this piece of work? And then scenically, how do we incorporate the different vignettes or venues that we need to go to for these scenes and these places that we will visit? Oh, like Noelani said, hey, we got to be in present. Next thing you know, we got to go back like 50 years. How are we going to be able to accomplish all these things? But as far as a challenge is concerned, the first thing right out of the gates has to do with scale. How big, how are we going to fill the space at Kennedy Theater to be able to accomplish all these goals? And, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You can plan until you're blue in the face. And then the next thing you know, you go, curveball. Okay. And I wasn't ready for the curve. I was ready for the slider, but I wasn't ready for the curve. And then you got to figure out how you're going to address that situation and make sure that our audience experience, they're able to capture it all. It could be any facet, whether it's scenery, which is going to be my primary discipline on this, but I'm also overseeing some aspects of the audio, helping Antonio with some property management and procurement and things like that. All these moving parts, and as I said, a new piece of work that is like, we're going to make discoveries all the way. all the way to the end. Like when we see the finish line, we could see it. It's right there. It don't matter. Something's gonna come up, and we're gonna need to solve it. And you know what? It's the joy of our
Magic.
art. It's Magic Week. It's not that other word. It's Magic Week. I'll get off of my soapbox now and give this thing to somebody else.
I think one of my biggest challenges that's going to come up is balance. I'm going to have to learn like how to balance that kuleana of being an actor on stage, but also that kuleana of being the designer of all these costumes that we're wearing, and figuring out if we're going to make it through a quick change, if we have enough bodies to help us get into our costumes. Like those are all of like these concerns that I have, but it's also that from the acting, I need to learn my music. I need to learn my chants. I need to learn the lines that I got line notes on. You know, like it's all those little things that are kind of piling up on me right now. That's going to be a fun challenge to do Wingardium Leviosa on top with my magic wand next week.
I can borrow your time turner.
Yeah. That's me.
I just like to, yeah. I just like to point out, I've seen a couple of rehearsals, right? And Kaiu, there are 4 speaking characters in this play, and it runs for like a couple of hours. So she is working like magic, and she and the engagement and the interplay and the speed with which the olelo is being delivered and that kind of thing. Oh, by the way, the characters are also musicians and seamlessly moving into musical performance, not only on their own, but also then integrated with a band that they get to rehearse with maybe 3 times. So that's what she's doing, and then the minute everything stops, she's then running to fix somebody's sleeve. And then gets to go home and proofread the program. So the thing I want to point out here is that this is actually a characteristic of hana keaka. Anybody who gets pulled in suddenly finds they're doing 5 or 6. I mean, I think this is the first time that I've seen a production of this, I think, where Noelani wasn't on the stage as well as doing whatever the heck she was doing as well, too.
As of now.
As of right now. Oh. You're going to write in a little sister.
Last night. We'll see what happens. You never know, Craig. You might see me pop out on that stage.
At any rate, in terms of the leveling, in terms of the set design as well, too, you've got about 4 different time periods occurring simultaneously that the audience has to know in each case where they are, and then the characters and even the band are actually moving between those areas as well too. So that all has to be gestured through light. It has to be gestured through location. It has to be gestured through costumes. There's a complete costume change for the band, and none of those people are actors. I mean, they're getting dressed up in a way that they haven't dealt with before. So just in terms of the logistics of managing all these things and everybody having to be aware of what everyone else is doing is one of the biggest challenges, but it's the thing that also makes it most exciting when you see it. So I'll shut up.
I can go, I guess. It's something that we're proud of too, yeah. A triumph. Okay, he can know. Yeah, I'm sure all of these lovely people are tired of me harping about this, but when I was in undergrad for theater design, we had a clear process of assistant to lead designers. And so freshman and sophomore, would take the beginning level design class, assist a professional, assist an upperclassman student, and then kind of, work up to then designing their show and then learning how to then have an assistant. So that is where my undergraduate training was, even though I transferred schools. And then COVID happened. But anyways, that's kind of the lens in which I approach design, and I've assisted outside of schools and, had assistants, and that to me is a huge opportunity, and I feel really strongly about it. Every show in our season that I've designed at UH, I've had at least one assistant, and then now I have an associate and an assistant and a production electrician and additional technical support. And I feel really strongly about it because, you know, not only does it give a dance major and a film major opportunity to work on a theater show and an original hana keaka, you know, which can then inform their work outside of this, but, you know, it gives me the opportunity to learn how to be a better leader and a better collaborator. And, you know, for me, like, I can write a light cue or we can move lights, you know, until we're blue in the face, but I really feel strongly about leading with care and, you know, giving people opportunities, you know, being big about the learning for all of us, you know. And so I feel like this process has been a little bit different from my design processes before because it's felt a lot like more of a leadership role and, you know, coordinating meetings and sending a lot of updates and emails and spreadsheets and, you know, checking in on people, buying everybody lunch, making sure, you know, like that people are happy and, you know, at the end of the day, being thankful that people are giving up their time and their weekends and their evenings, you know, to work. And at least in my time here, there hasn't been like a design team structured like this. And I really think that it's like the thing that I'm most proud of with my work, at least, is having these individuals who are all talented and amazing and kind and just excellent people here to help me and support me. And we're all learning together. And yeah, I think, you know, I was really adamant about having this, and I'm glad that it all worked out. And yeah, I feel like, you know, like everybody said, we're going to keep making changes and we're going to keep merging things together and trying our best and making mistakes. And I know I'm going to look at the lights in the house and I'll be like, why did I do this? And then I'm going to go back and clicky clack on the board and try my best to make it better. And, you know, but, and a big thing for me too, right, is trying to be a good collaborator. So of course, you know, giving room and time for scenic and the shop to finish painting and to move things and not getting in their way. And, you know, how can I help them? This morning's helping them remove, you know, Duvetine from the set and getting staples off. You know, it's like I'm happy to do those things because that means more to me, you know, than writing another light cue or whatever. You know, it's I can figure all that out. So, yeah, I think, you know, it's been a big show and there's still a lot ahead. And I keep telling everybody my dreams are last, but, you know, they're not last, but, you know, I do have the most, I guess, time to adjust and kind of support all the other technical elements. So just trying to keep that, you know, and keep in constant communication with my team, with this team, our directors, you know, all the performers, and yeah, just trying to really support. I feel like that's, you know, where my vision is for the next 7 days, you know, is just support, be willing to change, communicate, and just try our best, you know, because we want to change things forever. So opening is, you know, a hard thing, but a good thing too. So mahalo.
We're here to support you too.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
For me, like one of the biggest challenges / like one of the things I'm like happy that I'm being able to do is just working on a hana keaka production. Because when I moved here last year for this program, and I'm mainly a scenic design major, but the one reason why I chose this school was because of the hana keaka program, because I learned about it. But I knew I didn't have a chance getting in because I didn't know nothing. And so like coming in, first week of classes, I get handed the script, and you're like, you're designing glitter in the pa'akai. And I was like, cool, what's pa'akai? And like, I'm looking at the script, and I'm like, I can read Spanish. I can't read Olelo. I don't know what I'm doing, y'all. So just being able to like work with people and like being able to be that guy that doesn't understand things and they're willing to answer my questions no matter how silly they may be. So the same thing when I got onto this show, reading the script, I'm like, yep. Oh, that's English. I got this one. Or like I'll sit there and translate a lot of it for myself so I can understand what's going on. But the team is just very helpful. I'm like, all right, so what's happening here? Like, let me make sure I'm understanding this right. I'm like, oh, this is great, perfect. So like learning the language has been an amazing thing, but also terrifying, because it's like I don't want to like come off as like some stereotypical design things. And like we've joked like a couple of times, they're like, oh, we need a lamp, and I'm like, I'm gonna put the hula girl lamp right there. And I was like, no, I'm not actually gonna do that. There's no way I'm doing that. But yeah, just like learning technologies as well, because like the 8mm film projector that we have is from like 1950 something, 1960 something, and it's still working. So I've learned the ins and outs of that, and now I'm going to learn how to use a Cricut, because I don't know how to use one of those. So like learning technologies of old and new. So just a lot of back and forth, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. But yeah.
A triumph for me is being able to work on a hana keaka production, because I got to see Glitter in the Pa'akai last semester, and it was fantastic. And so I'm very grateful that I got to be a part of this design team for this production, and also to gain more experience as like an electrician, as a designer, figuring out how our building works, everything, all our lighting, all of our audio and all that, just getting right thrown into it as a grad student and running around trying to figure out how to get noise lights to work when they're not working.
Thank you for doing that.
And then for sound, like I've never done sound effects before, so there's been a challenge in doing that as well, and also with figuring out how to like what kind of effects I need to add to these recordings I'm getting that of people like speaking or singing, of like what effects do I need to add to this, or do I need to add an effect to their voice or some sort of thing in the background like record player crackling. And also another challenge with sound effects has been how are we doing a transition in time with the bana and the record player, and that's something that we're discussing today actually. But yeah, but I'm very grateful to be able to work on this production and gain new experiences. Yeah. Mahalo.
Mahalo Anui. I just want to say that I have so much gratitude for each and every one of you. This has been an amazing experience. We've all had such good relationship and open conversations and very collaborative. And I honestly mean that. Not throwing the word collaborative out there as a catchword, you know, but honestly, we'll sit and we'll talk through something, and maybe it's the idea that comes from the conversation that is the idea that moves forward. So it's not my idea or Noelani's idea, but it's the idea that we find together that moves the project forward, you know. And same thing, you know, I want to mention our design meetings. Every Friday at 2:00, we're in a room together, and everybody's sharing their progress, and everybody's bringing up, you know, questions or areas that, you know, might have overlap, and how can we work together to accomplish the needs. A prime one I'll just throw out there is it kind of involves the three of you. It's the film, right? So Antonio's on the projector, the 8mm projector that took forever for us to get an 8mm reel. But we had the projector that was working, and thank you, Chris, for hooking us up. Was that from the Cave of Wonders? No.
It was a friend of mine had.
Okay, a friend. Okay. And then Antonio met with a man in a parking lot. Sorry.
I needed the film.
He needed the
I just
film.
needed the 8mm film.
Yeah. And that was, what was that? You said off of Facebook Marketplace, was it? Yeah. Okay. So we had all these 16mm reels, but they didn't fit the projector. But this projector worked, and it fits the bill, right? This is what we were looking for. So thank you, Antonio, for seeking out.
I also found 4 more of those 8mm projectors, so if you need them for some reason, I know where to get them.
Oh,
but
my
not
goodness.
16. Not
Okay.
16.
Okay, right on. But just us being able to sit and openly discuss about how we can navigate things and how we can collaborate to accomplish the things like what Kelly mentioned. How are we accomplishing the sound of an album with a live band, right? You know, because there are key moments where the album is played, and we wanted to have that sound. The other thing, I just trying, and this might be leading into the next question, which it's okay if we go there, but I want to highlight the fact that we're using projections and we're using film to, and there's been a lot of work behind the scenes or pre-production work to videotape the actor who's playing kūpuna so that we can put that together with sound and be able to project that to show someone from the past visiting their mo'opuna, visiting their grandchild. So there's been a lot of work where this team has just been really amazing at making things happen. And the conversations are very free-flowing, and they're very productive conversations. So I want to say thank you, because I don't remember being part of such a thorough, such a friendly, such a collegial, such a professional experience. We've had good productions before. I'm not saying we didn't have good productions before, but this one is very special. It's very special. And I think a lot of that goes to the individuals who are working on the project. So, mahalo nui ia o kou pakaia pau. I really, my deepest gratitude. And to Maile too. So, puliki ia e mahope. Yeah, okay. She'll give Maile a hug. I'll give Maile a hug too. Okay, yeah. But, you know, that completes the design team. So let's maybe lean into the last question. What should the audience look for? Why should they come? Why should they come and see the play?
I'll kick off with something what I said earlier pretty much, is look at the history. From technologies, like I said, we have a 1950s projector, 1960s, 1950s, I forgot the date. But it's working, it's film working, and then we also have our full-on actual projectors in the building that are projecting things. And then we have music recorders that are within the set, so we have an actual, like, soundboard, and there's certain other props that they pull out, and you look at, and you're like, oh, that's from this age. We have a bunch of vinyls, a bunch of other random things that help tell the stories of what time period we're jumping to and the history of what the family has and where their roots are, pretty much.
I would say, I think it's a popular answer, but the mele. And kind of jumping off Antonio, like the history of mele too. In our early work, when we did research presentations and, you know, when we're like dreaming up things just from the beginning, I brought an old photo of my grandparents, my papa and my tutu, who were performing at this time, but in California. And so they and that photo have been like really on my mind as like the guiding point. And, you know, we always honor kūpuna with hana keaka. And so they have been, you know, with me for this, and they're still in California, they're fine. But, you know, just kind of thinking about that history and, you know, because we all kind of have it too personally, I think, and that has been really exciting, and just to feel the different styles of mele, and, you know, like, yeah, when I heard the drums last night, I was like, yes, you know, you could just like feel everything like move, and, you know, I'm just so excited to see all those transitions and the transport through time, you know, through music and costumes and performance. And, you know, I feel like it's both simple and very complex, you know, in all of the elements. And I think that's where the beauty of it and the magic is coming from. So, mahalo.
I think something that I'm excited for and the audience should be excited for is how all these components, like seeing them come together and help bring this story to life and transport you to different periods of time. So I'm also very excited for the music. So I think that's something audiences should look forward to, because I'm sure it's going to sound absolutely amazing. So, yeah.
I'm really excited for the history that you all will see on stage through the set, through the lole, the costumes, through the lighting, the mood that we get with the music and the lighting. I think it will definitely transport you to a different time period. And then, of course, mele, yes. But I think it's going to be a good discussion later for people who understand what it is exactly being said about mele. And it's hard because it's a different level of language as well. Like, this production is a heightened language, I feel like, of Olelo Hawaii. But it's grasping what this argument is about mele and how do we evolve with mele and how does our hana no'eau evolve. And how important it is to evolve, because what they did in the past is evolution, and what we're doing now, I'm not going to say it because I don't know what we're doing now. So, yeah, that's like a discussion that we need to have with our kanaka, and like, how do we holomua, how do we make things for this generation and the following generations to come, and how do we become those leo kūpuna that we're listening to? So yeah, that's looking forward to it.
Okay. All these parts and pieces assembled. The playwriting, the music, the lights, the projection, the scenery, the sounds, all that stuff. You guys know this movie, Ratatouille? You know the guy, Anton Ego. At the end of the movie, he goes in there and he scoops the thing up and he eats it, and he is immediately transported back to his childhood. Boom, blown out of his chair. If you guys are not blown out of your chair, then apparently we didn't do our job right. Because that's what I think is going to happen. Out of all this stuff, assembling all these parts, we talk about this stuff about the history and the moving in and out and transport, so on and so forth. Anton Ego, take that bite of Ratatouille, boom. That's what we're trying to do to you guys. We're taking you somewhere. We're taking you on a ride.
Yeah.
And you're all going to identify with it in some capacity. Yeah? That's where we're going. Okay, I'm good.
Mahalo, Anui. Should we take questions, maybe? Is that okay?
Can you get from the live stream?
Okay. Yeah. So maybe, sorry, if there's questions, anyone in the room or anyone on the live stream, maybe we could take a question, maybe two. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Oh, Havi Paka. Yeah.
You were talking about having that team. Mahalo. Aloha, mai kako. You were talking about having a team of support and being able to lead, and that being really important to you as part of the learning process. And I was curious how you got that team together, because you were saying there are students from different colleges, right? So if you could talk about that a little bit, because that's something I'm interested in, is like collaboration across colleges and things like that. So
Yeah. Oh, mahalo for this question, Eleanor. So sweet. Yes. Well, Kikela is a dear collaborator of all of ours. She's an alum of the program, and she has stage managed and built and toured with many hana keaka before. So she's always been my backup and my help, and she's always with me. And so this time I was like, I really want to give you a title and give you credit for your work and your help. And I mean, she just took 3 days off of work to be here, like, doing things. So she's like always my person for support and help. And then Annalise is also a good friend of mine. She was in Glitter in the Pa'akai, which is how I met her, and she's a dance major. And yeah, she's taking Olelo Hawaii and taking Papa Hula, and so she's really committed, I think, to just supporting performance styles, especially here in Hawaii. And so she's a senior in the dance program. And so I was like, well, you've got, your senior performance coming up, next semester. And, a part of their learning, too, is to collaborate with lighting and kind of talk about that. And, because it's for their piece, it's their, vision. And she's applied to grants and received, she's really like getting all the support that she needs. And so I just wanted to give her this opportunity, since she's worked on a hana keaka before as a performer, to now be in a design role and an assistant role. And she's also going to be our lightboard operator, so she'll be pressing go for all the cues during the run, which I think is a great experience too, to be in all the meetings and in the room before and working, and then to see it through, which also I don't think is common, or at least I haven't seen that in my time here. And so I'm just trying to loop her in, one, because she's great, and two, just to kind of give her that language and expose her to kind of thinking about lighting and how that might impact her piece. And so, yeah, and I just love her. So that was her. And then Marcus has been the person that I know the least going into this process, but I actually met him when we did our Ano conference in March, and he and another student presented for School of Cinematic Arts, and they work with Lizette Flannery, Kum Lizette, who's also an Ano member. And so when Chris and I met him, we were like, oh, we got to get you into this, and he's also a great production manager and technician and worker internationally. And so, yeah, and a filmmaker. And so I thought, I should get to know somebody new and try and cross-collaborate. And, it's great to have somebody with a film background, because I don't have a film background too, and I'm filming projections and taking photos, and all his tweaks and suggestions and help have been so awesome, and I feel very supported, and that I can rely on him, and he's perfect for an associate role, at least for, for this. He's just above and beyond. So yeah, those have been kind of, I guess, through productions, conferences, those kinds of things that I've been able to kind of Avengers assemble my team and get them all involved. So it's been so special. So I'm very, very happy and grateful for them. Yeah. Mahalo, Eleanor.
Mahalo ho'i. Yes. You want to pass down? And as you're passing, I can answer this one from online. Mahalo e ku'ulei. We will not have English translations available, but there will be a English scene chart that you can follow along in our play guide. So it'll detail what the activities are and what's going on in each scene, but not English translation. The kūpuna's dialogue, well, it's not dialogue, it's a memoir, and that is in English. So there is some English being woven into the production. Mahalo.
Mahalo no ko'apau. This is a terrific idea. People go to a production and they don't know, they don't get to see all the talent that's behind what's on the stage. So thank you. This has been great. This is a question for Kumohaile as a writer. As you were conceiving this hana keaka, as you were writing it, thinking about how it would come together, how much were you projecting forward for all the work that this team was going to be doing? And what was in your mind? And then how has that evolved in working with, this team of designers?
Mahalo for the question, John. That's a great question. I have a tendency to not be able to remove my director's hat from my playwriting. So the idea of thorough, I think, comes from that as well. So the script, I think, really spelled out what I saw in my mind's eye and vision for what was materializing on the stage and what the audience was receiving. So I think the stage directions are kind of heavy. And I do feel that we've negotiated through some of those stage directions because we've seen, we don't need this, or maybe we've done this already. And the cast has also been a part of those discussions, as well as the designers. So I believe that the vision was clear from the beginning, and maybe provided a good roadmap for the work to be done, that magic is coming together. And it's quite exciting to see. One particular moment is when we see the kūpuna Kauahi-o-Nalani actually performing in this kind of recreation with the band. That's one of the most exciting things, and I think that was one of those moments that I was able to spell out because I saw that, and thus far it's really exciting. The performer is enjoying it as well because he has a mic that I want to thank Chris and Antonio for. That's a period mic, so it's one of those microphones, and the stand can move and bend, and he's having a lot of fun with it. We're going to do a little bit of choreography, but it's just really amazing and exciting.
Not Elvis.
Yeah.
Wrong. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, this is actually a question for Kumuhali that is coming from the live stream, but I'll just point out it's one of the other huge contributors to this production and making people know about it. So this is Malia Nobriga Oliveira, and I think you'll be able to tell from the questions that she's asking and prompting at the same time. Any possibility for taking the play to the other islands? Maybe on Kauai at the new KCC Theatre? Aloha e Malia ma Kauai. And are there discounted tickets for community college students?
I'll take the ticket question first. I believe that the tickets there's a student price, and it is on the website. So all students and then UHM students have a different price, but I believe there is a student price that's reduced from general admission price. And then e like me kākaʻu hana e me kalui ko o lau. He ini ko o e huakaʻi keia hana keaka he huakaʻi pai aina. E like me ka mau o ka halau hana keaka he mea nui loa ke la. He mea nui loa ke la no u o iai no Kauai keia e like me oe e ke hoa. A ole nui loa na mea ma Kauai a no leila oe paha ka mokupuni mua I nā no huakaʻi keia hana keaka. And yes, KCC, their Performing Arts Center, it has been renovated. So it's newly open, newly renovated. And one thing that Malia and I share is our first production in 1995, Kalui Ko'olau Ke Kā'ea o na Palikalalau, where she performed the role of Pi'ilani, Ko'olau's wife. The first island we took that production to, that was my senior thesis in the Department of Theater and Dance. But the first island we took it to was our island, which is Kauai, because it's a Kauai story. And it was really important for her and I to take it home. And we didn't have a lot of money. We were still like undergrads, just one of our good hoa, Kameha Ililani Waiau says, yeah, we weren't actors. We were activists. Yeah. We were language activists. And it's true. We were bound together because of language, and the Hana Keaka Productions was a way for us to practice and for us to increase fluency in our language acquisition. But the reason why I bring up the KCC is Kalui Ko'olau was one of the first productions on that stage in January 1996. So, yeah, I always have a soft heart for touring our shows to our neighbor islands. As a neighbor island girl, I know the limited kind of exposure we have to all the stuff happening on Oahu. Yeah, so Kauai tends to be the first island we book when we tour. And we'll see where Puana goes. We have to open this one first. E Puana ka Puana, e mau ka Puana, a e lohe ia. And I guess it's Haina ia mai ana ka Puana. We're at the end of our show.
And ana kapua It would be Kānaka Puana, a brown bag. I'd just like to say mahalo to the entire panel and kumu haili for, in some ways, bringing together the panel just by thinking about the production. I would just remind people that this a second event is going to be live streamed at 7:30 tomorrow night, where you're going to hear the artistic collaborators in terms of the materials within the script and the performance, and this will be Keawe Lopes and Zachary Alakaʻi Lum. And I'm pointing to that because I just wanted to mention one other thing about the nature of this production, which is Daniel Heath Justice and many other people talk about the fact of trying to become good ancestors. One of the things that's really striking about this is there's a substantial amount of new music, original compositions, which are completely inflected or informed by the traditions of music that are being represented as well. So you're getting 1924 and 2024 through the artistic creation of these collaborators. And so if you're interested, and I hope you certainly are, tomorrow evening you'll be able to not only hear them talk about how they put their material together, but Kaʻio is going to put on another hat and become a movie star, and she's going to end up actually performing one of the scenes, so you'll get to see the three actors who are actually going to be singing and performing.
We might have Kaʻula.
You might have him? Oh, 4. Sorry, I forgot him. He's a different century. Okay. And anyway, mahalo nui loe to all of you, and please see the live stream tomorrow, and above all, see the show. Okay? Ahuiho.